Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking part of Richland 101. It does my heart well when I see that the citizens of Richland County are generally interested in what goes on in county government and not just say, okay, spend my money and do whatever you want. Welcome to Alvin Detention Center. First question I ask is, how many of you knew you had a detention center in Richland County this large? Y'all know it was a large. We are the second largest in square foot and the third largest as far as inmate population. So you have a very large facility. This facility has over 1,120 beds for adult side and 24 juvenile beds. Yes, we house juveniles also. Don't get us confused with DJJ or the Department of Corrections. We are totally a pretrial facility, and I'll discuss that. About me, as you see, I'm the director of the facility. This is my staff. This is Captain Moore. She's the captain of operations. This is Captain Buffett. What you do, man? That's what I tell him. Captain Buffett is basically, he's in charge of programs, transportation, training. I missed something. Admin, yes. Basically, he makes sure everything's, Captain Moore process folks in, process them out. Captain Buffett makes sure all the paperwork is straight. And I got another captain who's the chief of security. He's responsible for the bulk of the work that goes on here. Because no matter what, in corrections, one thing we always preach is security, security, security. Chief of security is Captain Higgins. He'll be here in a sec. Waiting on two people and come up. So without any further ado, I'm going to talk about it. I'm trying to get through this quickly because, to be honest with you, this is one of the longest tours that you're going to take. Because what it is, we have 4 different styles housing units. So, and I'll explain that. So without any further ado, I'm going to get into the presentation. Feel free to ask me any questions. You can stop me at any time. I'm going to try to be as informative as I possibly can. If you have any questions, please ask. Regardless of whether I'm in the middle of something, I'll stop and I can always pick it up, okay? All right. So this is an overview of what we're going to do, provide you as many facts as we possibly can about jails and, you know, why folks walking on the street. Chain. How many of you ever heard of chain gangs? We don't do them no more, okay? That's folks walking out on the street with a little chain on their leg and chopping trees and picking up. They call it litter control, but you don't see any restraints on them now. Get tough on crime, and I'm explaining a little bit about get tough on crime because a lot of times we don't know what we ask for when we say get tough on crimes. And when you say get tough on crime, guess what you're saying? You're gonna lock up more people. Locking up more people do what? It costs more. And the more people you lock up, the more facilities you got to be able to keep those people. And I'm explaining the roles of county jails, okay? We are an accredited agency with our American Correctional Association. There are more than 3,300 jails in the United States. There's plenty of jails. Basically, you know, just you might, if think how many counties in the United States. Almost every county has a jail. There are some regional jails in Virginia and a couple other states, but almost every county has a jail. So 3,300 jails in the United States. Out of the 3,300 jails in the United States, there are less than 300 that's fully accredited. And accreditation means that you have to follow they give you this big old thick book basically with a bunch of rules and regulations in it, and you got to document. So basically what you end up doing is proving that you're following constitutional law, proving that you're running an efficient and effective operation. That's what the purpose of accreditation. So I'm proud of that because you see that little plaque on the wall that basically says we're accredited. We're going through we're prepping up for our reaccreditation, which occurs every 3 years. They come out every 3 years and check your files, check your records, see what you've done over the last 3 years, and occasionally they'll pop in on you during that 3-year period that you're not really doing anything to make sure that you're doing because if you're not doing what you're supposed to, you can lose your accreditation, which we try not to do that. We don't want to do that. Also, our medical department is accredited by the National Commission on Healthcare, which is NCHC, which is actually a plus for us. That's what we're going to talk. We're going to talk our mission statement, type of facility, population categories, functions, personnel, organization, cost of operation, which everybody loves, and then we're finally going to do the tour. Mission. I sum my mission statement up in three words: safety, security. What's the other one? It's a test for my captains over there. Because that's all we do: safety, security, and what? Control. So, if we are safe, secure, and we're protecting the public, that is our main task. Most people say, well, why do you protect the public? How do you protect the public? We keep everybody behind closed doors. If we're not protecting the public by keeping everybody behind closed doors, then you don't have a safe jail. You don't have a secure jail. So that's our major mission. Because if you see that our priority, we protect the public, then we protect the facility, then we protect the staff, then we protect the inmates last. Why the inmates last? Because if you don't have the other three, you can't do nothing at all. That's why they're in that category. We're going to provide everybody a constitutional level of care. What we mean by constitutional level? Now, you can provide people a care up here, which is going to cost a lot. And then you notice I talk a lot about cost when you're running a facility. One, you got to run the facility efficient. Everybody don't need iPads. How many of y'all got iPads at home? Y'all want an inmate to have an iPad? I mean, we can provide them iPad. That's what I'm saying, a constitutional level of care. You're going to make sure they get the app. You're going to make sure they get their essential needs, and that's why we said constitutional level of care. They get the essential needs. They're not going to get, they may get some things above that, but we're going to make sure we take care of health, food, and security. Type of population we have, and when I break this down, remember earlier, before everyone came in, I said there's a difference between jails and prisons. Jail is almost 90%, 99% pretrial. We have some sentenced inmates here, but when you look at our population as a whole, we are very, very heavy on 90% side of pretrial. Pretrial means they have not been sentenced or convicted or adjudicated yet. That's what basically that means. So when you talk of a jail is pretrial. At least in South Carolina, most of it's pretrial. We do have some sentenced inmates. Sentenced inmates make a very small percentage of our population. As you said, 7%. Now, who are those sentenced people? Some of them are going to Department of Correction. They may be here. If they're sentenced on the Monday, we try to get them out by Tuesday. If they're sentenced on Wednesday, try to get them out by Thursday. If they're sentenced on Friday, we'll try to get them out by Monday or Tuesday. As soon as we get the paperwork to ship them out, we're shipping them out. In South Carolina is one of the very few states where you do not have to hold a sentenced inmate convicted of a crime. The jail's not required to hold anybody over 91 days. 91 days to go out to Department of Correction. Anything less than 90 days, they stay here at Alvin Detention Center. So we don't house people for long sentence unless they are a civil offense, such as contempt of court, and they have, I think it's basically all this, contempt of court, I think. That's it. Yeah, family court cases, which is a civil case. Juveniles, we have 24-bed juvenile facilities, a small bit of our population. And normally we have lately we've had about 10%, about 10 juveniles, not 10%, 10 to 12 juveniles every day, which is good. Believe it or not, we don't house a juvenile unless they're charged with, we don't keep them unless they're generally charged with, of course, murder, assault and battery with intent to kill, grand larceny of a motor vehicle, burglary first, burglary second. I think those are the only things we hold a juvenile. Sometimes the rule changes. You notice I look at them a lot, because I'll tell you this, I don't know everything. Believe it or not, I don't know everything. That's why I always tell them, if I say something wrong, make sure you correct me. I don't mind being corrected in front of folks, because that's what they're there for. 90% male population, 10% female population. People are charged, and I drop down to malicious mischief to murder. We house everyone here. Prisons, they'll go to what they call a reception and evaluation of prison, and they'll go to a particular prison for what they call a maximum custody inmate or medium custody inmate. In jail, you have it all. We don't know what's coming until they get here. If the person commits a murder, I tell everyone, guess what the first stop they make? they come through a jail. That person you see staggering on the street that's drunk and the police officer decided to arrest them, guess where they come? They come to jail. Everybody comes through jail. Anybody who went to prison, they had to go to a jail first, because normally at a jail, your fingerprint and photograph, that's where you actually start the process out. That's basically how you start. That's how you get into what we call the criminal justice system. Arrest, and you go to jail, that's when you know on the fingerprint and photograph, and now we know who you are for the rest of your life. So just remember, jails hold everybody. Does not matter, it holds everybody. Population, our population, and I have to give some kudos to the solicitor, and our population is really going down. We're one of the very few jails in the state where our population is actually keep going down, down, down. And currently we have about 800 inmates in, I think about 800 inmates in today. And believe it or not, this jail at one time, we always said 1,100 beds. We're at 1,500 at one. We had 1,500 inmates today. That was about 7, 8 years ago. But our population has dropped down. We're going to talk about that later also. Type facility, we're type 4 facility, which means we house juveniles and adults, long term. Now, we're going to talk about the good stuff. Direct supervision versus linear. The difference is the pictures. Linear is this. Direct supervision is that. Notice the difference. There's a bunch of trash on the bottom one, right? That was just cleaned up 30 minutes prior to that officer probably making the tour and us taking that picture. Direct supervision, the officer is inside the unit. In linear style, the officer just makes round security checks. Now, you're going to go into a direct supervision unit. This is not maybe RFD. How many of y'all don't want y'all to date y'all? Some of y'all may remember that. Now, some of you might watch Lockup or something like Lockup on our Discovery Channel, one of those channels. But there's a difference. I have IBM of the Inmate Behavior Management. Everything in this jail is based off inmate behavior. We give them a choice. As long as you behave yourself, you get to walk around, talk, watch TV, talk on the phone as much as you want to, as much as your family can pay for it because the calls are collect. You get to order the commissary, visitation. You get access to those things. If you don't behave, then we have to take some of those privileges away. And as I said, privileges, not a right. We take some of those privileges away in order to control them. That's part of inmate behavior management. We lay down the rules every morning. Inmates get probably about a 30-minute briefing every morning and say, well, these are the rules. Do we have to do it every morning? Yes, we do, because you constantly have to remind people, this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're supposed to act. Your bed's supposed to be made. Anytime you get out of your bed, you're supposed to make your bed. Things are not supposed to be posted on the walls. We basically tell them this every morning to make sure that they understand what the requirements of being in the facility. Cost of bed space, we're going to talk about that later, but basically how we normally determine how much it costs to keep an inmate in jail, which is technically, it's just a term we use. So, because you may hear that when I say cost of bed space, it costs us about $72, about $69, I think it's $69 to keep an inmate in jail. Now, for $69 a day. Now, really, if you take one inmate out, the only thing we actually save is breakfast, lunch, or dinner, because we still have to keep the lights on. You still have to have staff in place. You still have to feed everybody, and you still have to provide medical treatment for them. I'm explaining front door, back door, and I'm talking about jail population reduction scratch. Front door, back door. Front door, amount of arrest, types of arrest, how they set bonds, citizens' demand, changing attitudes, legislation mandates, new and changing laws. All that's basically saying, remember when I told you about get tough on crime? When we get tough on crime, remember 3 strikes you out? Remember I told you our population went up to 1,500? Because of 3 strikes you out. Because inmates will not want to plead guilty. I mean, if I got arrested 3 times and was convicted 2 of those times, and no matter what I do, I got to serve 80% of the sentence on my 3rd offense. Do you think I'm gonna plead guilty when I'm gonna do 85%? I can go do a trial and possibly get off with the trial. That's why population go up. When you say get tough on crimes, think of programs. Think of whatever things you want to do to actually help a person from the type of behavior. Why put a person in, you have a person that has a drug dependency. You put him in jail. Okay, he's in jail. Jails have programs we can teach, but the best way of doing it is, okay, see what we can divert, possibly put him in a drug treatment program to see if we can help him through his addiction, help him find a job, help him become a productive citizen. That's one less person you may have to place in jail. So if you just keep locking people up, the cycle just continues. So you got to find other ways of handling how you want to deal with people who commit crimes, especially drug offenses. What can affect length of stay, how long it takes one to go to trial. That's basically all this. How long does it take? If it takes a person 5 years to go to trial, your jail becomes full. If it takes them a couple of months to go to trial, you might be able to swing people in and out of jail. We used to book in 60 people a day, which was really amazing. We used to process 60 people in a day and 60 people out a day. Our intake processing is way down. Normally we process 20,000 people in a year. We're going to process 15,000 people in calendar year 2015. Classification, remember I told you about inmate behavior earlier? Classification is a process we go through to learn more about that inmate. We learn about their past. We learn about their current criminal history. We learn about any medical issues. We put all those, we call it a decision tree. It's a classification form, and it decides on whether this inmate is going to be minimum custody, which requires less security restraint measures, medium custody, which requires a little bit more, max security, which requires the highest security measures we can possibly have. So that's what our classification. How many people we process to court? We moved 19,000 inmates, 19,000 incidents of folks going to 2020 Hampton Street, not 20 Hampton, that's up to y'all, Bill. 1701 Main Street, 1701 Main Street, and to our bond court. Just that's inmate movement. That don't include the times that we're sending classified and just walking them around from cell to cell. That's all going to court. Medical had 12,000, almost 13,000 incidents of when they saw or treated someone. Now, put this in perspective. Our population is about 800. It was about 900 last year, but we got about 800 this year. So imagine how many times they've seen the same inmate, or how many times, how full that medical department is. Almost 13,000 incidents where they saw or touched someone. Mental health. Mental health is one of the biggest issues we have in jails. Today, I have a third of the population in the Alvin Detention Center. Anybody good at math? Divide 8 and 3 and 8, 3 and 8 and tell them how many times, what's that number? All right, 2.5, all right. So we got 250 inmates on psychotropic drugs right now. Out of that 250, over about close to a fourth or a fifth of them are acute. Your jails is truly a mental health hospital. And jails are not equipped to be a mental health hospital. We're not therapeutic. We cannot, staff is trained, but not trained to the point of dealing with the folks we need to have trained with dealing with folks with mental health issues. Jails are not built that because we don't have the type of fixtures, therapeutic environment that you need. But 3,000 people treated for mental, that are here, through the year, we actually had to treat for mental health. Dennis, pool, or so, I say, he probably pool, cleaned it, whatever, over 1,100 people. If you total that all up, how many times we had to move the inmate was inside this facility? That's almost 41,000 times. And many actually moved inside the facility. That's a lot of movement. That's a lot of moving parts for the jail. We have approximately 35,000 records here at any given time. That's how many folks that came in within the previous year and the current year. That's a lot of paperwork. Video conferencing. We have, where actually a judge can basically set a bond. That's the only thing you can actually do in South Carolina, do your first arraignment. However, we also have another type, video visitation, for the inmates should they want to be able to Should a family member decide not to come to jail to visit them as you walk past the kiosk, should say the visitation booths in the front lobby, you can also do that over the internet. It is at a cost, and I'm not advertising it, but instead of just driving down here, you can possibly sit at home. It works well for folks who live out of town, who can't get here within an hour or so. They have a 15-minute visit, it costs about $5. It's not bad, saving gas. Prison labor, we could not exist without inmate labor. Inmate workers, old term used to be trustees for those folks who know about the jails. Inmate workers clean the building, they mop, they do some of the repairs, they cook some of the food, not some of the food, they help prepare all the food. So we could not function without inmate labor. Inmate labor saves us money. 100? Yeah. Because we have about 40. Imagine, even paying a person minimum wage, we have 40 people on our inmate labor force right now. And that's still not enough. So imagine just paying them just minimum wage, how much that would increase the cost of operating a facility. Incident reports, well, like I said, we document everything. We're constantly writing. Maintenance requests, we constantly work on this building. This part you're sitting in is 20 years old, 21 years old. We opened in 1995. So what you're sitting in is 21 years old. When you go back in the lockdown area, the first part you're entering is 21 years also. So this jail has been here a while. So we're constantly trying to keep it presentable. A county jail and jails are not like county admin. County admin is it open now? No, it's generally closed. A jail is 24/7, constantly. We're operating 24 hours a day, which is hard for us to keep clean. So we're constantly moving people around and constantly cleaning, mopping floors, because that's the only way you can take care of the building. Programs. You talking about programs? Or did I put you on the spot? It's your building,
Okay. Okay, here at the facility, we do have a variety of programs, and we do try to engage in inmates and give them something to do, because as you know, they're here. And we have an outstanding GED program. We have different type of programs for domestic violence, drug abuse, and all types of stuff. The main thing is engaging the inmate, keeping their minds occupied. And we do have some very good instructors, a lot of people that you may know that come in from different churches, different organizations, volunteers that come in on their own dime to assist us down here with the program section. We have a library for them. They have computer classes and just all the stuff that you see up here. And I'm pretty proud of it.
And a lot of folks don't, inmate behavior management, that's part of it. TV is a part of inmate behavior management. Idle minds is what? There you go. Y'all have me preaching in here in a minute. But idle minds, and if you have to keep them engaged. If you do not keep them engaged, they're going to get in mischief. But programs, you'll be surprised once an inmate enrolled in programs, you very seldom have problems out of that inmate. Because in order for them to go to programs, they have to do the things that are right. They have to follow the rules of the facility. It is a waiting list, and sometimes inmates get very upset because they can't attend class. But we only have so much. We have 2 classrooms, 1 library, and you saw them in the programs we had. It's about 12 up there, and it's hard to schedule all that stuff to try to get everybody in. That's one of our biggest issues we have, and hopefully, one of the things I did forget on our inmate construction project. That's one of the things we need to include, space for programming. This is basically personnel here. Well, let me back up. That's the organizational chart. I report to the Assistant County Administrator. I'm the Director of Detention Services, and the Assistant Director my security folks, Chief of Security Operations, Professional Standards, Support Services, and Programs. Those are that's what the captains are responsible for. That's how many folks. Currently, we have 345 spots. Now I'm going to tell you this. Y'all know anybody need a job? Anybody need a job? We're always hiring. And I will tell you that it's a tough and rigorous screening process. Seriously, it's a tough and rigorous screening process. But it can be rewarding. If a job is what you make out of it. I call this a profession. I've been doing this for 34 years. I've been at the same jail here for 34 years.
23 years.
Well, 17.
Getting close to 31.
And they've been around. See, they've been around a while. And my point is this: it's hard to find good people to do good work. And in correction, a lot of times folks think there's nothing to corrections, but it is a very rewarding profession. It's hard because you work holidays and weekends, anniversaries, and all that good stuff. But in the end, you're rewarded by, you know, every time I go out and try, I see, and those people say, I speak to inmates, yes I do. And if all of us tell the truth, somebody in our family been somewhere that we don't really want to talk about, like in jail. So I tell my staff this continually, we are no better than they are. I don't mean to upset anybody, but they are human beings just like we are and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. But in the correctional environment, we're here to help and assist. I'm looking for some folks who want to do that. So that's my plug. That's my plug to hiring folks. So if you know someone that need a job, y'all got any kids at 21, and try to get them out of the house, bring them on. We'll take care of them. Correctional officers. My support people don't leave. I can't get them out the door. But corrections is very stressful. It is very stressful. Basically, you're locked. And when you go back in the back, and we'll talk about direct supervision, when you go back in the back, you'll understand. Because basically, you're locked down with inmates all day long. You get a break, yes, but you're locked down with inmates. So you're actually in there talking and communicating, making sure they do what they're supposed to do, because inmates require a lot of interaction. But those are normal positions we have. Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. This is back from a few slides. When you were talking about health care and dental, did I hear you say that does the jail provide dental cleanings for the inmate, or is it just emergency dental care?
We do cleaning too.
Okay.
We have, if you're here for, and I have to go back and read my accreditation. We have to make, if an inmate's here over 90 days, we have to make sure we give them it starts one teeth cleaning annually then. That's a requirement. Let me talk about, we have I'll talk about medical. I really didn't spend that much time on it. Our medical, we have an RN on 24 hours a day. We have a doctor that comes here, that's coming. We have a doctor that works here 40 hours a week. We have a psychiatrist that come in for 12 hours a week. We have 3 full-time master's level clinicians, social workers, mental health workers, whatever you want, and 1 part-time, along with a host of certified medical assistants, LPNs, and medical admin staff. So you see the importance of, and I'll give you a figure, currently we spend $3.8 million out of a $20 million budget on medical. That's how important we take medical services. So it's a lot of money that goes in medical. That's our budget. We're currently looking at doing an addition for mental health to have what we call a therapeutic environment. However, now here's the issue is how much of county funds do you want to pick up to where the state is supposed to be doing it? And this is Ronaldo Myers' philosophy, not anybody else's. Well, they're in jail, we're already doing it. So we might as well provide the level of service that that as much as we possibly can. That's Ronaldo Myers say so. Because I'm responsible for them, I'd rather provide treatment for someone. Hopefully when they get out, we've got them compliant with medicine. Because currently we do that now, hopefully we can find a place for them. When you start talking about mental health folks, you're talking about homeless people, we're talking about veterans, and you got to have some place for them to go. If you don't have that in place now, we really don't have. We try to do it. We do a fair job of it, but I want to do an excellent.